1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Hey, Sunny. Hello? Anybody hear me?
I can hear. Yes.
Yes,
This is Joy.
Yes.
I hear you very well.
I need someone from Secretariat. I wanted to check out if, screen sharing is working because I'm the next speaker. I mean, soon.
Okay.
So hope anyone come.
You need.
Welcome everyone to AMM2. And if you're joining back, welcome back. This is the last session for today and the last session for APIDT 50 virtual conference. I'll hand over to our chair of the APIDT EC and the chair of the session, Gaurav Rajupadhyaya. Before that, I just would like to remind a few points. Be mindful of the code of conduct. It's published on the APIDT 50 website and it will be posted to the APIDT to the chat box. And also, if you have any question and answers, you have two options. You can either raise your hand and we will promote you to speak, or you can post your questions in the Q&A box. Now, just letting you know, if you have time and if you are on social media, please take a picture of yourself from home or office, wherever you are, and post it to your social media. Use the hashtag #APIDT50. That's all from me. Now, I invite Gaurav Rajupadhyaya to take the floor. Gaurav, are you there?
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sunny. Hope you had a quick break. Obviously, you had your share of some nice, some not so nice coffee and some cheap pastries outside. Maybe we could simulate that in future years. But we'll go to the next session. We'll start with a bunch of reports. And as I said earlier, if you had questions in the last sessions, we'll try to cover them in the open mic next. Open mic. The first one would be Craig. He's going to give an update on APIDT. Craig, you are up.
Thank you, Gaurav.
Also, just a minute. While Craig is presenting, can I request the other panelists to turn off your video and then come back on when you are presenting? Thank you.
Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon. It's Craig here. I'm the General Counsel for APIDT, and this is a brief report about APIDT, which is the Asia Pacific Internet Development Trust. So today I'm just going to talk about what APIDT, what it is, and explain a little bit about the background to the establishment of APIDT. And then tell you about the request for tender process for basically the sale of the IPv4 addresses. And then finally, very briefly, the governance framework for APIDT. So the Asia Pacific Internet Development Trust was created to fund internet development initiatives in the Asia Pacific region. In the main, it is the development goals is to improve access to the internet for people and community in the Asia Pacific region. And this is done through technical skills development, through capacity building, and through supporting research and development. The APIDT is a joint initiative of APIDT and the WIDE project of Japan. So the story so far, as Gaurav has already mentioned, and as you probably have already heard through blogs and other information, this initiative started by through a discussion from Professor Jun Murai from WIDE Project in Japan. He considered donating, if you like, returning, if you like, another word, but basically gifting the 43/8 that was assigned to WIDE Project in 1990, well before APIDT was established, for the purpose of development goals in the Asia Pacific region. It is a very, very generous offer. And basically the offer that was given to the APIDT Executive Council was to use the money that can be generated from the sale of the 43/8 for development of the internet in Australia, in the Asia Pacific region. So this offer was made in 2019, last year, and was discussed through last year with the approval of the APIDT Executive Council finally given in September 2019. So if you look at this is the deadline that we were looking at. So the discussion took place in early 2019 when the offer to work with APIDT to create the Asia Pacific Internet Development Trust started. So the discussions went through 2019 with the approval given, as I mentioned. And so the trust was created in January 2020 at the start of this year. And between then and now, the trustees worked on the design for the process of selling the IPv4 addresses. And the trustee worked in conjunction with KPMG and Maddox Lawyers, a law firm in Australia, to design a transparent, accountable, and appropriate process. So this is the trust as it is set up now. So you see the APIDT, which is the Asia Pacific Internet Development Trust. It has 2 members and 2 guardians, and that's WIDE and APIDT. So essentially WIDE from Japan and APIDT manages and controls the trust in the benefit, for the benefit of the community in Asia Pacific, and that the details of the trust and the community that it seeks to benefit is set out in the trust deed. And if you go to the website of APIDT, which is apidt.org, and go to the documents, you'll be able to see the trust deed, which detail what the objectives and the benefit that it would bring to the people in the Asia Pacific region. So in terms of the request for tender process, which is essentially a process for the sale of the IP addresses. So in May 2020, as you see, the RFT process was announced, and the sale process will go through 3 separate stages. So stage 1 started in May 2020 and concluded in June 2020, and that was for the sale of a /9. At the start of August 2020, so just last month, the RFT process for the stage 2 opened, and that was for a /10. The process closed at the end of August, and the trustees are in the process of finalizing that stage. So if you look at this diagram, so why project return or transfer the addresses through the historical resource transfer policy to the trust, the APIDT, Asia Pacific Internet Development Trust, which became an APINIC member. So stage 1, as I mentioned, has completed, stage 2 is pending, and stage 3 will be announced later in the year. So in terms of governance framework, the trust has joint oversight by APINIC and the White Project, and it's governed by the deed of trust, as I mentioned. The trust itself is recognized, or will be recognized as a charity under Australian law, and will be regulated by the Australian government's Charities and Not-for-Profit Commission. So the APIDT Board of Trustee has already adopted a conflict of interest policy. It's working on the creation and appointment of an investment advisory committee. And it will shortly be developing due diligence and accountability framework for grants, and also to make sure that there are appropriate anti-corruption measures, internal controls, and measures to prevent fraud and bribery. So that's my very brief presentation, if there's any questions.
We'll take the questions together as well, but we do have one question there, which is specific to APIDT. If you want to take that, Craig, the question is from one Mr. Jitender Singh. How ethical is it to sell IPv4 resource in market through APIDT in place of distributing the same to their members for profit organization?
Yeah, so I'll answer this. This is, I mean, if you look at the APIDT as a charity, as a trust, and it was gifted an address, the purpose of the trust is to use the money in order to further development activities in the Asia Pacific region. So it wasn't a choice that was available to APINIC. It was a gift on terms, and the terms was basically to sell it and basically to get the best financial outcome in order to do the most benefit, to provide the most benefit for the people. Is APIDT going to disperse this fund as a one-time windfall or invest the proceeds and use the income for investment? I think the intention is to provide a long-term annuity or endowment in order to continue to provide the benefit over a long period, but that is subject to consideration and discussions by the trustees. In the past, do you want me to answer that, Gaurav?
No, please go on. Let's make it a bit shorter.
Okay. In the past, APINIC take years to decide on the policies. Wasn't this the case? There was a hush-hush decision taken by the EC. Well, it is not a hush-hush decision taken by the EC. And to be clear, APIDT is a separate legal entity to APINIC. So APIDT itself is like any member of APINIC. bound by APINIC's policy, it doesn't create it. So APIDT, the way it sells its addresses, is doing it like any other member of APINIC is entitled to do. I think I'll stop sharing now, and there's no more open questions, so I'll put it back to you, Gaurav.
Thank you, Craig. We can continue the discussion during the open mic. The next one, we have the NIR SIG report by Billy. Billy, you there? Thank you.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Billy. I'm the chair of NIR SIG. I'm very happy to share with you guys about what we discussed on this Wednesday. First, let me share screen. Yeah, can you see the screen?
Yes, we can, Billy.
Okay, great. This Wednesday, we had a discussion about NIR operation activities and also some of the statistics. It was a 1-hour meeting and there was 50 participants, including myself and the co-chair. This is agenda about our discussion. 5 NIRs made a presentation. This time, Arin from India wanted to make a presentation, but contacted us late, so it didn't meet the criteria of acceptance. So this time dropped, but hopefully they come back next meeting. And also K-Alec didn't make a presentation for some reason. So since 5 NIRs made the presentation, we had 10 minutes and we took advantage of sharing the pandemic situation each some NIRs has. So let me go one by one. First, Indonesia, IDNIC update shared statistics about IPv4 and v6 as it is written on the slide, and also they shared their upgrade of their portal system about who is an ROA and resource transfer, and also some features about system upgrade for routing information system and BGP play, and also other some features. They call it Cadabra. And also they shared about some statistics about cybersecurity issues, and they said copyright issues is the almost issues that happens after pandemic. And it was highlighted that their RPKI coverage is largely increased, 0.3% in 2019 to 31.9% in this year. And also, as other, as others, other NIRs, because of a pandemic COVID-19 situation, their workshops and meetings all went to online. And next. TWIG also shared the statistics about v4 and v6, and it was noted that their IPv6 user availability was highly increased. 0.46% 3 years ago to this year, 46.25%. And they also shared, they said that they had 6 times a v6 website upgrade and also security trainings. And they had their IP member meeting and the RPKI training this year. And they are encouraging their ISPs to promote ROA, and they will hold another v6 and RPKI training throughout this year. And next, the VNIC update. They started their presentation with their new vision, and they introduced their engagement meeting with APINIC, and also with basics. And they just, I mean, last year they finished their IP basics action plan, and in relation to this, and they will focus on, providing basics for their government agencies till another 5 years. And also they share the statistics about V4 and V6, and as well as AS numbers. And they also featured about new project, like they are on Academy and also Internet Atlas in this year. And next, CNIC also presented about their statistics in V4 and V6, and also AS numbers. And they had a IP Alliance conference on June 30th in Beijing, and they had 2 times V6 and RPK trainings in Beijing and Hangzhou. They introduced about their RPKI and WHOIS system upgrade, and also they mentioned about V6, IP V6 network and application infrastructure, as well as V6 user and traffic. And next, JPNIC was very interesting, and because they Hiroki-san started his presentation about COVID-19 status in Japan, as well as JPNIC situation. Japan government recommend working at home, and also according to that recommendation by the government, most of staff are working at home, he mentioned. And still they, under this pandemic, they still actively collaborate with local communities. And also they had online Japan Open Policy meeting, and the policy discussion was very similar to that of APINIC. And it was highlighted that V6 increase was highlighted in fixed line as well as mobile. And they shared that they closed their presentation with the introduction of statistics in V4 and V6. And since we had just the 5 presentation, 10 minutes, I shared the situation, pandemic situation in Korea. Korea is just hit by second wave of COVID-19, and told that we had like 16,000 cases, confirmed cases, and this second wave will add another, about 5,000 to 7,000. So altogether, we are over 20,000. But I think now we are relatively managing well. Our CDC is very working hard, and now with the second wave, there was like 300, about 300 new confirmed cases. But now we are managing under like 100 something, and yeah, we are doing okay now. So, and hope everyone. Hope to see all of you guys face to face, healthy, and next time. And I think this is all for what I have to say. Thank you. Back to.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you for the good work in the NIR SIG, and thank you to all the NIRs who participated. Next, we have the policy SIG report by Bertrand. Obviously, we didn't have any policies, but we had some sessions. So Bertrand, you're next. You are still muted, Bertrand.
Now that should be good. So how do I share my screen with this thing? Up. Where is this? How? What?
Yeah, are you able to share, Bertrand?
No.
Okay, we'll share for you, Bertrand.
Okay. Share for?
Yeah, policy SIG report. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can you see the slides, Bertrand?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you.
So this is Bertrand Charrier from New Caledonia doing the Policy SIG report. The Policy SIG Charter. Policy SIG Charter is to develop policies which relate to the management and use of internet number resources within the Asia-Pacific region. These includes policies for resource allocation, recovery and transfer, and for resource registration within WHOIS, reverse DNS, RPKI, and related services. It's always a good reminder as the Policy SIG Charter evolved a couple meetings ago. Next slide. Who is who? As you can see, these are pretty old pictures. Maybe we should update them as well. I'm acting chair until next year, and my co-chair, Ching Hang Ko, is live from Taiwan now. Next slide. Steps to implementation. First, you start with a proposal submission. Then they should have a mailing list discussion. And after that, we try to reach consensus at the open policy meeting. From there, we go to the AGM, try to reach consensus as well. After that, there's the comment period. And if everything is still good, then it's got the Executive Council endorsement and another editorial comment period before being implemented by the Secretariat. Next slide. So for the proposals, as you know, there was no proposal at APIDT 50. The call for proposal was open from July 6th to August 2nd, and we did not receive anything. The Prop 132, which has been highly talked about in this meeting, has been implemented. There were two props, 130 and 133, that did not reach consensus at the last OPM. They were supposed to be on at this one, but because the author couldn't join the meeting because of a huge zone difference, it's been postponed to the next one. Next slide, please. Prop 125, validation of abuse mailbox and other IRT emails. So phase 1 and 2 are completed now. That's a very good job from APIDT. And phase 3 is ongoing. There's a bit of glitches in the UI UX, and it's been working on very hard, and it should be finished by the end of the year. Next slide. So a bit of statistics on the Prop 125. 88.4% validation rate. That's higher than anyone had expected, and it's a very good sign. So there will be needing to find a balance between the ease of validation and achieving policy goal of ensuring accurate and contactable network abuse contacts. Not everyone agrees on the method, so it's still working on to get improved. PDP and SIG guideline documentation review. That's a good one. It's going to be a big job for APIDT. The review of documentation related to the PDP and SIG guideline. APIDT 111 versus 002, the policy development process and the unnumbered APIDT SIG guideline. Next slide, please. So they've got to make document match the current practices, a cleanup of typo, incorrect links, reference in sections, restructuration and numbering of the SIG guidelines, and a review of undecided community proposal that would result in change to the current practice. It's a work in progress, and there will be a call for editorial comments. And that's it for me. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Bertrand. I think we we'll go on to the next presentation now. If there are questions, we'll tackle them at the open mic or through the Q&A method.
Okay,
So
thank you all.
next one, we have Brenda Mainland from Survey Matters, presenting the APINIC survey report for 2020. Brenda, you're up next. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Just let me share my screen. Swap.
She's an expert. Hi, Brenda, you're in presenter mode. Could you please switch off the presenter mode? Thank you.
Yeah,
There it is. Thanks, Brenda.
Yeah, is that okay?
That is okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay. For your time, I'm glad to join you remotely from Melbourne here in lockdown. I just want to take you over the results of the 2020 APINIC member survey that was conducted from March through to July this year. So I'll take you through the methodology, the sample, what we did with language translations, then run you through the key findings from the results. So we started this year with the qualitative aspect of the survey using individual interviews instead of traveling to countries and having focus groups. So these were conducted via video conference or telephone call. So there was a change to the process, and I guess the biggest effects of that change were that more economies were consulted. So we had a greater spread of opinion and a wider range of views and issues were apparent. But we could consult fewer members from the same economy. So sometimes the individual views expressed were not able to be tested across the wider audience from within the same economy. But we conducted 41 interviews across 27 economies. We talked to 28 APINIC members. We talked to all 7 NIRs this time, which was a great result, and 6 APINIC stakeholders. We then took the results from that consultation to an online survey that was distributed between the 13th and the 31st of July. And we had 1,659 completed responses. And after data cleansing, we had 1,624, which is an excellent result, 31% up from the result in 2018. So just quickly looking at the sample, the member composition is roughly the same as in previous surveys, about 70% APINIC members, 16% members of NIRs in the region, and 8% other stakeholders. From regional responses, 16% from East Asia, 18% from Oceania, 27% from Southeast Asia, and South Asia was 35%. This year we asked some more diversity questions than we have previously, some demographic and diversity questions. And as you can see, the responses were dominated by males between the age of 25 and 44. We also asked about English proficiency, and very few, the majority indicated you are either fluent in English or could understand most English conversations. Based on the 2018 survey where we did 8 translations, this survey wave we translated into 15 languages, and 35% of all the responses were completed in a language other than English, which is up from 31% in 2018. We did want to translate into Khmer, but we ran out of time, and the community feedback indicated there were some issues within the fonts in the survey instrument. So we'll look to fix that for the next survey wave. If I take you through the key findings now, favourable endorsement of APINIC continues to rise. It's a really positive result, with 66% of respondents speaking highly of APINIC. up from 56% in 2018. Very few respondents speak negatively. So really it was an excellent result, and very little difference between the different subregions and the economies. And again, pleasingly, more respondents have attended APINIC training in the past 2 years. 41% of respondents indicated they had used some form of training in the past 2 years, and the positive satisfaction ratings with that training has risen to 97%. When we asked which of the activities would be of the most value to members, online virtual labs and online self-paced training is favoured by the majority. Full training certification also has the support of a large number of you. Online training is and self-paced formats are preferred, particularly amongst respondents in Oceania, whereas those in South Asia and LDEs prefer hands-on training, customised technical assistance and collaboration with universities. Those responses from East Asia and Southeast Asia are also more likely than others to indicate that they would want training and training materials delivered in local language. Awareness and adoption of RPKI has improved, and I guess we saw that in Billy's slides earlier, where Indonesia had seen quite a large increase in RPKI. So it's increased quite substantially to 27% this year, and 70% of respondents were aware of RPKI or have already deployed it. Satisfaction with the APINIC RPKI services is also up by 5% to 94%, which is a great result. And again, perhaps mirroring what Billy was saying in his earlier slides, IPv6 uptake has risen to 20% of all of the respondents, but at 36%, those members in East Asia are significantly more likely to report that they have full deployment of IPv6 in the region. And I guess Billy was talking about CNNIC and JPNIC, both reporting improvement in IPv6 deployment. This year we asked 2 new questions about barriers to participation and how APINIC could encourage greater participation from the community. Probably not surprisingly, cost, time and geographical constraints are the greatest barriers to participation. But again, those in the East Asia region are more likely to indicate that language is a bigger obstacle for them, and a focus on language diversity would encourage greater participation, would help people participate more. Other suggestions to boost participation included building more awareness of what is actually available, enhanced access, remote access capabilities and financial support. When we asked what APINIC could do, or what if additional resources were available, what APINIC could do that would provide the most value, most respondents across the board want a focus on DNS route and TLD servers. But there are some divided opinions about where APINIC should focus its efforts and other things, with members, LDEs and those in South Asia wanting more of a focus on IXPs, NOGs and CDN caches, whereas other economies and those in Oceania prefer a focus on certs. If we just quickly look at satisfaction with the services, these are the top rated services that APINIC provide, and the majority of the satisfaction ratings improved slightly from 2018, which was very good to see. And as usual, respondents are most satisfied with those personal interactions that they have had with APINIC, like meeting with a representative or APINIC training and presentations by APINIC representatives. The help desk as well rates very highly. And APINIC Foundation activities. This is the first time we had asked about the activities of the foundation, and those who have had involvement rate their experience very highly. But as you can see, at over 90%, all of these services are rated very highly by members and respondents. And again, overall satisfaction with quality of service, the value of the services and the value of membership has either stayed the same or grown slightly. So the proportion of respondents rating the quality of services as excellent has increased to 39%, which is up 4% from 2018. And as in previous surveys, we have seen respondents from LDEs in South Asia are more satisfied with service and quality and the value and membership than their counterparts in Oceania or other economies. If we just look at the challenges that respondents and people, members in the Asia Pacific are facing, the first thing that we asked was a free text comment for them for you to tell us in your own words what the challenges were. Cost of managing and providing internet services, network and cyber security threats, aging and underdeveloped infrastructure, and poor bandwidth and unreliable connectivity were commonly cited. Of course, IPv4 scarcity and IPv6 deployment were also frequently mentioned. We added a new question this year about strategic challenges that were offered to executives who, organisation executives who were completing the survey. And cost, regulatory compliance, and security risks which affect business are the three, and hiring and keeping skilled employees are the four things that are of most concern to executives. Maintaining a skilled workforce is more challenging for the people, those respondents in East Asia and Oceania. Oceania, again, are more likely to indicate that security risks which affect business is the top challenge for them. And when we asked about the operational challenges, the issues faced are the same as in previous surveys. Handling of security and incidents, managing the cost of systems, network operations and security is also a challenge, and coping with the IPv4 shortage still remains in that top three. We did add a new challenge this year, which was automation of network systems and operations, and 11% of all respondents ranked that as their #1 challenge. So overwhelmingly, education and training is the best support that APINIC can provide to help overcome these challenges, particularly around capacity building, around IPv6 deployment, helping security, routing security with RPKI, ROI and ROV, training in those areas as well. Excuse me, would provide the most assistance to most of you. Just lastly, if we have a look at the sorts of trend and benchmarking data that members would prefer, and like the challenges that you face, network threats and security is most valued by over half of you, and more information on those sorts of things would be valued. Data about network infrastructure, topology and usage would also be useful, and the use of specific and new technologies, ASN, IPv4 and IPv6 distribution and usage is also of value. So there's quite a lot of those of that data that would provide a lot of use and value. When we asked about how APINIC could assist through community organisations and shared infrastructure, as you can see, the responses were fairly evenly distributed across 6 of the suggested things that APINet could do. DNS root and TLD servers is the area most want APINet to focus on. LDEs would like a focus on NOGs, and other economies favour attention on certs. When we asked what information would be of most value or of most benefit, unsurprisingly, new information about security incidents and threats is overwhelmingly where most members want a focus. That concludes the overview of the results for this year, and I'm very happy to take any questions. Okay, don't think there are any. Thank you very much for your time.
Gaurav, are you there? Thanks, Brenda, for the report.
Aftab's saying he can't post questions in the Q&A, but he's got some questions for all panelists.
Gaurav?
I think Gaurav's.
Yes, it's still working with one.
Thanks, Brenda, for the report. We take questions during the Q open mic. So if you have any questions, please put them through the Q&A box. And looks like Gaurav may have dropped out. So we move on to the next report. Gaurav, are you there? Okay, we move to the next report by Aftab for the routing SIG, security SIG.
Thank you, Sunny. I'm sharing my screen. I'm not sure if people can see that or not.
Yeah, we can see Aftab. Go ahead. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. This is Aftab Siddiqui. I'm the chair of the Routing Security SIG. I'm giving you the update of what happened yesterday. Being the chair, I have 2 extraordinary people who's helping me out as the co-chair for this Routing Security SIG. That's Dr. Dima and Rupesh Shrestha. So we had a session yesterday. So there were 4 presentations. One was from Yunnan Go from Huawei about the BGP routing security region-based trust alliance validation. It's a new, it's a proposal to enhance something in the RPKI and how it is used at the moment and how it can be improved with certain things. So of course, it has to go through the ITF CyberOps working group, but it was a nice idea and was discussed on the virtual meeting. Next, we had a presentation from the Dr. Dima on the ITF CyberOps working group, because this is the working group in ITF, which is responsible for most of the routing security related protocol enhancements and development. CyberOps is secure inter-domain routing operations working group. So he provided the update on what is happening in the working group and what are the new things coming up. He also mentioned that RFC 8897, which actually combines all the RFCs, talking about the relying party software, which is called the validator in the RPKI, are there. The other 2 presentations were, one was from Melchior Elmans. He's from Juniper Networks. He presented the TCP authentication options. It is slightly different from the RPKI and ROA discussion we have been having for last couple of months, but it was very important discussion, again, revolving around the BGP peering sessions. And the last presentation was from our very own George Michelson, who presented the report to the Routing Security SIG, highlighting that APINIC has finally deployed the AS0 TEL and how you can use it and what are the what are the steps they have taken to achieve this task. And now it is publicly available. They wrote a blog post about it as well, so you can have a look if you want to. So when we started this routing security 6 earlier this year, because in Melbourne, Apricot, it was the first official meetup for the routing security 6. We promised a couple of things. That was a target for the APIDT 50. We set earlier in the year that we're gonna make sure that all the routing security or RPKI related services update will be presented by APIDT during the session, which APIDT kindly did. We also said that we will provide you the update about the RPKI work happening in the ITS, so the operators community or the community in the APAC region is very well aware of it. Thankfully, we did it thanks to Dr. Dima. We couldn't do two things. We wanted to have the RPKI software updates. They are the relying party software updates, I would say, because of the shortage of time. And the last thing which we have promised so far, I haven't delivered on it, is creating the route origin validation best common practices documentation. This thing will start soon. Of course, we all were in a difficult situation. Hopefully things will get better from here now on, so we can focus more on developing these things. The call for volunteers is still open. The mailing list is still open. You can join and start the discussion. We will try to engage more people from the community so that we can start working on that one. And just the last thing from my end is just the global RPKI status. Just to show you, it's a global report taken from the NIST RPKI monitor. We are around 23 to 24% in the valid ROA. There are still few thousand invalid as well. So just to show it's a long road ahead, we still have to do many things. So we need your help. We need more participation from your end. And with that note, that is all from my end. I would like to say thank you to my fellow co-chairs, Dr. Dima and Rupesh Shrestha, for supporting me on this one, and the community for attending this session. It was a shorter session, but we extended a little bit because there was nothing after that. We had around 70 people attending it for the whole course of the event. So that was well attended in our opinion, and hopefully we'll try to engage more people in the future. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Aftab. Gaurav, are you there?
Yes, Sunny, thank you very much. Just for procedure's sake, if we have connectivity, then Paul is going to take over as chair for future. But anyway, thanks Aftab. Thanks Brenda as well for earlier presentation. Next we have Joy presenting about the cooperation SIG. Thank you.
Okay, this is Joy. I'm going to be start sharing my screen, and okay, this is APIDT 50, and from the Cooperation Special Interest Group, Joy, and along with my co-chair, Bikram, we are having a wonderful time with our panelists. There's a lot that we have discussed this year. And as you know that—
Sorry to interrupt, Joy. Are you sharing your slides, or would you like us to share your slides?
If I'm not sharing my slide here, give me a second.
Thank you, Joy.
Okay.
Thanks, Joy. We can see the slides now. Please.
Okay,
yeah.
wonderful. So this is our Cooperation 6. So again, my name is Joy, and Bikram is my co-chair. We had a wonderful time here. And for the Cooperation 6, that we are trying to act as a forum for discussion about all this public policy, internet governance, and we're trying to involve the government and other organizations and other community. So this year we follow through from the 48 where we were in Chiang Mai under internet jurisdiction that we explore on some of the cybersecurity incident. And then we go into the cyber norm last time at Melbourne. So the cyber norm, is already kind of like taking the major trend as we are trying to set up a lot of the internet policies or governance, I should say. So this year we kind of narrow down into our thing for the lawful intercept. The law for intercepts is a very sensitive but very important topic. So it involves the legal and authorized interception communications and how the law enforcement and ISPs working together to make this happen. So many of the topics that we are tackle, for example, the law for intercept, why are they so complicated? And we all know all the data has been dumped at the TCP dump. Can we use that for the intercept capabilities? And what are some of the best practice that we can do and for the deployment? And with 5G going around the world, are they going to be having an impact with our law for intercept? So all this topic, I have a wonderful panel list that coming from academic. I have attorney at law and the formal regulators. I have the ISP talking about where they look at things from their point of view. The law for intercept vendors who has experience, who done deployments and looking forward for what they have. And we have the current LEA. So we really talk from all these different angles, and it's a very diversified panelist with good discussions. The legal and the authorized intercepts, as we all know, at the end of the day, the user is really our law enforcement agencies. They have such a big request on that. But a lot of the action are taken by the network operators, and it is really supported by the law for issued warrant. That's like a must that we needed to do with that. So the current status for the ecosystem that we understand for the law enforcement agency, at the end of the day, they expect good solution, regardless where it's coming from. The audio quality has to be good, the capacity has to be large enough, and they need to be reliable. So we see a lot of the challenges from the stream alignment, from the edge computing, as we say that the 5G is going around the world, everybody's trying to using the new application, making the best out of the 5Gs. And what about all the containers, all the Kubernetes? So all this are making things very, very complicated for the law for intercept. So some of the specific signal processing we discussed about the impact on the performance, the quality of it. A lot of the technology side of it, we say we can do it, but if we don't do it with a good performance and quality, the use of such could be much, much of a decrease. And the speech recognition with the AI technology, the training, the argumentation, the accuracies. So we have presenters from, from our panelists who sharing their experience with that. And the automatic speech recognition is also one of the issues that we can make the law for intercept much, much more useful. So when we discuss all this from the different aspect of it, then some of the consideration we realized that we needed to talk about is the law for intercept standards. There's open source, there's others we needed to look further. And one of the very important thing is about the security, because as we know that the law for intercept coming from the very sensitive infrastructure, this infrastructure needs to be really very reliable. And also the internal access and who can authorize to see what. And this becomes a very important thing for things to consider. And nevertheless, but at the end of the day, we're going to ask who's going to be paying for the bill, the government, the law enforcement agencies, the operators, who's, this is going to be a big debate, and this is going to be a lot of the controversial that we are talking about is when we are looking at this issue. So, and these are my, my panelists coming from New Zealand, Australia, Bangladesh, and here in Taiwan and other places. So we had a good discussion, and we are very happy to having all the panelists discuss further. And we think that there's more that we needed to talk about it. And this is a platform that we can share with you, and hopefully for more information, more sharing, bridging the gap, because that's what the cooperation is all about. So with that, I want to give my sincere thank you to all my panelists, for all the audience, and to you all. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. And thank you to all the SIG chairs who run the sessions, put the program together. I know it has not been easy this time. So thank you very much for the report. Also, thank you to all the speakers and the panelists in the sessions as well. Thank you very much. Now, before we go towards the closing formalities, we skipped the open mic earlier because I was having technology problems. So we'll have a quick open mic right now. Let me see what questions we have out there. And I would request all the EC members to join back on the gallery. So where are my Q&A?
There's two questions, Gaurav, in the Q&A. Would you like me to read it out?
Yes, I don't see them, so.
Okay, the first one is from Brajesh Jain. In APINIC Melbourne meeting also, no details of APIDT were provided. That is the question.
What is the next question?
Next is from Simon Baroi. Question to the EC, what is the top priority task the APINIC EC would start seeing the 2020 survey result?
I can take the first, well, Craig, do you want to take the first one as the counsel on the APIDT?
Sure, I can answer that, Brajesh. Thank you for the question. At the Apricot Melbourne meeting, the transaction was still being negotiated with White of Japan and hasn't been finalized yet. So at that point in time, the transaction was still confidential. So even though the EC was aware of it and has approved it, it was still confidential so far as White is concerned. So no disclosure could be made at the time. So as soon as we could make the disclosure, it was made, I think, later in March.
Thank you, Craig. As for the follow-up question from Simon on the survey, I think generally, we just completed the survey about a couple of weeks ago, and we've not yet had time to go through it in detail. We'll basically go through it in detail, including at the APINIC EC meeting tomorrow, and then we'll formulate a response to it in the coming weeks, most likely by the end of this month or by within a month, and then share that back with the community. I think the trend is obvious. There are a few things that our members have constantly said. Security is important. Training is important for some parts of our region. Awareness is important for other parts of the region. There are also things like human resource retention, how to keep people around. We've also asked Brenda to go look at some correlations on the data set. So we'll be doing a little bit more work on this. And then it will definitely feed into the forward-looking planning we do and the budgeting we do in the December EC meeting. And it will factor into those. But keep a lookout. Within a month, we will have an official response to the survey and how the inputs from the survey are built into our forward planning, into the strategic planning. And we'll start reporting on that going forward. I saw there's another question here somewhere. Okay, it's a test question.
Gaurav, can you see the other question from Aftab? There's a question from Aftab.
Yeah, there was a question around 3% of Oceania rated
Yeah,
value
that's
of
the one.
below average to poor, 4% of Oceania rated value of membership below average to poor, 4% around APINIC is not of all. So yeah, we noted those numbers. I think still it is pretty low numbers from from looking at other similar reports that we've looked at, but does not mean that we'll completely ignore it just because those are low numbers. So we'll look at that. Obviously, I think this has been a trend where parts of our members, and it's seen in the survey as well, parts of our membership, especially in least developing countries, are looking at more handholding, more training, more support, more development type work with the from APINIC. Whereas members in more advanced countries are looking at APINIC more as a straightforward utility provider, and the measurement is done based on that. And I think we have to evolve ourselves, and that is where the work being done by the foundation to support some of these demands, which are not core to our function, but core to our objective of better internet in the region, is going to play out. So after those numbers are noted, we've looked at that. Even though, as I said, in average it looks good, but we will look into those corner cases. The detailed report that we receive do have open-ended text that we receive from our members, and we'll go look into that. I think, Brenda, do you want to add something to that?
I'm just not sure where you get the number of 65 in Oceania, or is it 65% of all? 65 responses of all responses of the 1,624 responses that we got, have indicated something somewhat negative, whether it be, somewhat or down to extremely. I would have to say that in a survey that covers 1,600 people, everybody will have their own opinion, and that's for them to say. Surveys are typically there to try and service and the majority opinion and provide services and activities that support that majority. From a research perspective, that number is not significant. That 65 is not significant, and so from research, it's not a hugely significant number. So I just thought I should say, if you're looking at it from from an academic research perspective.
Thanks, Brenda. But I'll reiterate that we'll go dig deeper. We should not, we should have answers, and we should look at what is causing that. And maybe they are not interacting with us enough, or maybe we are not reaching out to the right people in our survey and our engagement with them. But feedback noted, as I said, we'll look into it deeper, come back with a response over the next month or so. So thank you, everyone. I think we've closed the open mic now. I'll go into the closing formalities. Obviously, this is around the time of the meeting where we come and talk about future meetings and, where we are going next and all of that. We already announced that the Africa 2021 and APINIC 51 was going to be in Philippines, in Manila. APRICOT is organized by APNOG Limited, and we work very, very closely with them. And I'm going to allow Matsuzaki, who is an APNIC EC member, but also on the APNOG board, to make the announcement regarding Manila meeting. Maj?
Yep, thank you, Gaurav. So this is Yoshinobu Matsuzaki from APNOG this time. So because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, APNOG board needed to make a difficult decision. So APRICOT 2021 will take place primarily as an online event like this APNIC meeting. It remains the Philippine APRICOT with the dates and remaining as announced before. So APRICOT 2021 will still be produced in partnership with PHNOG and with the support of DICT and DOST of the government of the Philippines. So APRICOT 2021 website is already opened at 2021.apricot.net. And those information are also available there. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Maz. You can go on the website. Now we also have another EC member who is the host of the APRICOT meeting in Manila. So Achi, obviously I know that you are disappointed. So are all of we. But add a few things you want to add to this.
The situation, we need to adjust. So we're okay with what happened. So we'll do our best and support whatever goes. So, the series of events that's happening online may have been like sort of a practice for upcoming Apricot 2021, and we'll do our best and hope everybody will participate and also help each other to make this work and make this happen. So see you next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Asi. Thank you, Maz. We will work together, continue to work together with APNOG organization, Apricot, and the APNIC comms team led by Tony. We are very, very closely working on this situation. We'll keep on evolving. Keep a lookout on the websites. If things improve, we might change something. There has been some discussion about hybrid events, potential of doing those. But at this point, I think we are taking the safe bet and saying that the next APNIC 51 and Apricot 2021 will be primarily a virtual event, maybe supplemented by local activities if it is allowed by them. So we'll see you online again. Thank you, Maz. Thank you to the APNOG board. Thank you, Achi, and our friends in the Philippines. So we'll go on to the next step in the closing formalities. I would request Paul Wilson to deliver the vote of thanks.
My pleasure. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, everyone. I think this moment, the end of the week and the end of the member meeting have come around more quickly than usual. It has been a shorter week and a shorter day, but nevertheless, thank you all. I see more than 100 participants still with us, and thank you all for staying with us today through longish reports and for the week as well. It's been quite experimental. We at Secretariat, we really will look forward to hearing feedback from all participants who attended to see what worked and what didn't. And particularly since we're going to have at least one more of these meetings, we'd like to make them better and better as time goes on. But for this meeting, we do have a few people to thank as usual. So let me do that. We still have sponsors for this event as usual, and the sponsors as usual are really highly appreciated for supporting with the defraying some of the costs and being part of the community. So the platinum sponsors were Brenac, IPv4 broker, Gandhi.net, Kisa, Paracom, and V4 Escrow. Thank you all very much for your strong platinum level support. Normally, of course, there would be gifts and things, but I'm sure there'll be something in the mail for you as platinum sponsors and for others as well. Moving on, standard sponsors. As usual, NIRs, CNNIC, JPNIC, TWNIC coming through as usual, joining Kisa as well. Thank you, and thank you also to PH Colo and to VeriSign as a standard sponsor for the event this week. And to the many helpers, we have the chairs and co-chairs of our SIGs, Bertrand and Ching Heng for the policy SIG. Thank you. Billy and Jen Yu for the NIR SIG, Joy and Bikram for the cooperation SIG, Aftab, Dimar, and Rupesh for the routing security SIG. Thank you all for your efforts in helping to make those sessions as interesting as they could be, and more and more in future. So thanks again. We had our election today. Thank you, Munir, for serving as election chair. It's an important role to make sure that we do have the correct oversight over our election process. Likewise to John and Marco from Aaron and Ripe NCC for scrutineering. To all NRO election nominees, participants, thank you for participating. Congratulations to the winner of the NC election, Shubham Saran from Nixie, Iran. We really look forward to your service for the next couple of years. Thank you, Shubham, and congratulations. We had a program committee for this event chaired by Shayla Sharman, Philip Papes, and Sunny Chendi. Thank you, co-chairs, and thanks to all the PC members. To all the speakers and moderators, likewise, thanks for your contributions to the event. to the stenos. Not as visible this time in person, but still doing your magic online. Nikki, Catherine, and Leanne, thanks for that. APINIC EC, all the staff as usual who participated and supported and made this meeting happen. RIR colleagues, we had a few joining from other parts of the world, including my counterparts who joined yesterday. Thank you all, colleagues and friends, APINIC staff and friends and guests, for all of your help and participation. And likewise to everyone who's here online who visited for a time, and particularly those who stayed with us. Thanks for being here. I hope it was really a valuable and enjoyable week of several days of meeting. Like I said, we'll keep working on the online events for as long as we can keep doing them and improving them. But hopefully we'll also have the chance to get back together in person in a year's time. Not before, but in a year's time. Thank you all. And I think that's...
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Gaurav.
That brings to the final few things. Basically, I think a few things I'd like to talk about. Obviously, the first thing is our appreciation to our hosts in Bangladesh for their gracefulness in accepting this online event. To Mr. Hakim, the team at ISP Association, Suman Rai especially on working with us on this. I know it is disappointing because this is the second time we've had to kind of pull out, but I'm hoping that we will be back again as soon as we can. So thank you to our colleagues in Bangladesh. I look forward to being there sometime, well, as soon as. Also, the other person I would like to thank is Mr. Bajesh Jain and Mr. Simon Suel Baroy. Both of them have served in the NRO, NC, ASO, AC for the previous years. Mr. Jain served as the elected representative, and Simon was nominated for the last 2 years. So thank you very much for your service. I hope you are still in the community and continue to contribute. And congratulations to Subham Saran for being elected to serve on behalf of the APINIC community. So also thanks to Survey Matters and all the members and all the stakeholders who participated in the survey. I can't really emphasize enough that that is a really critical piece of input that the EC receives from the membership, because we have the meetings, we have all the other activities we support, but the EC members can't be everywhere all the time. And the structured feedback we get through the survey is still very important for us to see and guide APINIC towards a stable organization and to meet the needs of the members. And as I said earlier, we'll respond to the survey in due time. There are also, the other thing I would like to touch on is future meetings. We just heard about Manila, which would have been APINIC 51. And we did announce in Melbourne at APINIC 49 that the next year, APINIC 52 would be in Japan. But again, that is another one where we're not going to jump into any conclusion at this point. We're still going to work on it. In fact, for those dates, I'm more worried about the Olympics overlapping with our meeting than any other thing. So we'll see what happens and we'll keep you informed on that. APINIC will contribute to the NOGs. I think initial state, we had a few cancellations. The early ones, I think events up to May, June, people couldn't react quickly enough. So we had a bunch of event cancellations, but I think almost all of our NOGs are coming back online in virtual format. I know JANOG had a hybrid format recently, so we'll continue to support those, participate those, and I think we'll look into how this event went in a pretty good depth with our APIDT comms team. And we would like to get your feedback, whether that is through Twitter or Facebook or any other medium that you can provide feedback on, and on the online experience of how it went throughout the week or the 3 days. I know that we missed a couple of face-to-face interactions, but I think we can make up for it in due time. The other one that is interesting is this is the 50th APIDT meeting. It's been a long time. For me, this might be like the, I don't know. I don't even know, actually. It's tough to calculate. Probably 38th or 39th meeting for myself. But the first APIDT meeting, and Paul reminded me to look at it, was in January in 1995. And over the last 26 years, we've had 2 meetings in Everest every year. Of course, the first few years were 1 meeting a year. And then in 95, I don't think APIDT was even formally incorporated in Australia. That happened in 98. So over the years, we've had this consistency of meeting. The meetings have evolved. We used to have like policy being discussed in multiple SIGs, then we concentrated back. For a while, we didn't have any other SIGs, just the policy SIG and the NIR SIG. Now we're back to 4 different SIGs. So it's an evolution. We used to have, there used to be a time when at an APIDT meeting, I would know almost everyone. I am happy to see that it's no longer the case. We've seen a lot bigger expansion. We've seen a lot more people, which is always good. And that keeps on increasing. So that shows how resilient we've been and how productive and how much value we see in the meetings itself, the face-to-face meetings. So thank you for the participation. I know that in the audience, in the online audience, we have people who've been coming to the meetings for a long, long time and seen the evolution. Please blog about it. Talk to one of our comms team people if you want to share your experiences. They'll help you. You know, you don't always have to write your own blog. You can talk to someone and they can transcribe it for you. So that'll help you share the experience and record some of the history. So encourage you to do that. Reach out to someone in getting that done. The other thing is also that I think we do have to see how COVID will impact APIDT and our members. But at this point, I don't think we have enough data or enough input to go and make a drastic change in anything we're doing right now. So for us, for the EC, it is learn as we go. I think we are all looking at all the possible things. The EC members, 8 of us, work at completely different organizations. We are all facing our own challenges, and we are seeing how other people are reacting and bringing some of that into how we think about this. If you think that we can do better, if there are things that you want to make us aware of, please reach out to whoever on the EC is reachable to you. Twitter, these days I'm mostly on Twitter, but Twitter, Facebook, emails, my APIDT, everything is possible. So please use those. I think I will end my sayings from there. Once again, I'd also like to thank the team that puts the event together. Tony and the comms team and all the other staff members that worked on it, which was unusual. Maybe they had not worked on something like this, producing the event. It is a big task. It might be simple, but it is not that simple. So thank you to all the comms and the events team that put the whole event together for us. Having said that, I think it is time to formally end the APIDT 50 meeting. I would like to announce that this is the end of the meeting. No housekeeping announcements, no bosses to wait for. So hope all of you have a good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are. Thank you very much. And we'll see you online very soon somewhere.
Thank you, Gaurav, and thank you all the EC members and the participants for joining us virtually for APINIC 50. We're keeping up with the tradition. Let's take a group photo with all the EC members. If you could please turn on your videos. And for the participants, we have the conference survey posted on the APINIC website. Please complete the survey and let us know how we can improve or what went well and what need to be improved. We are happy to take your views. And as Gaurav announced, the next conference will be virtual as well. So we try to our best to have a good experience for you all virtually. Thank you all and see you at the next conference. See you online. Stay safe. And may I also request the APINIC staff, after we take a group photo of APINIC EC members, if you could please turn on your video.
They're not in.
What do you need? Okay, thanks. Sorry. We just take the APINIC EC one and wrap it up here.
Thanks,
Smile. And wait a second, Jamie. There.
Oh, come on. Okay, I got it here.
We can hide the non-video.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Done?
We got the snap. Yep, done. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, EC members. We'll see you for the EC meeting tomorrow.
Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. Bye.